is Christina Barton. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello, welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about some news, I guess, that just dropped about a check that is a personal check to Joe Biden. There was a report, I guess, some weeks ago, and it just kind of got lost in the shuffle of the whole speaker battle with the Republicans, and then, of course, what's going on in Israel. But that Joe Biden's brother got some kind of loan or something, so it looked like there was something closer to Joe Biden getting some kind of kickbacks from China and stuff. Well, they're saying that they are connecting the dots more, so I want to go ahead and read this article to you guys about what's going on. And they say that they have the check. I don't know if any amount of um evidence or connection will be enough for Democrats to just kind of throw old Joe over the bus, because his poll numbers are already like atrocious. And I don't they're sticklers, I guess, for each other. They don't quite do the whole band and ship thing like Republicans will often do to each other. So you got to give it to them on that. So I don't know if there's anything that's going to like be red flag enough for Dems to finally, acknowledge what's going on and what's obvious. But I'll let you guys know. I certainly didn't think that they'd find, I guess, as much as what they have found, but not because I didn't think there was something there. It's just I, a bit sloppy on their part for a lot of stuff that's come out. So also, there's this pro-choice activist, Jessica Valenti, who wrote an article about a a son and a mother who were charged from the how she's kind of reporting the story. I don't know if people would even pick up that the person who had an abortion didn't get charged, but there was a minor who was statutorily, raped, or raped rather. I put graped in the title because I think people would get it, but I didn't want to get flagged or something. But um and they're just kind of reporting like, oh, Idaho trafficking, their abortion laws, etc., blah blah blah. Like, pro-life laws are bad, and abortion restrictions are bad, and it's so bad they tracked this person down at an abortion clinic, and they took this minor out of state to have an abortion, and her parents didn't even know. So I just want to talk about that story, and because it's important to consider that if people can just go ahead and take these young kids out of state and a race will say the evidence, that's not good. That's not good at all. It's not good at all, guys. Not good at all. Also, I want to show you guys this video from a Hamas official talking about Israel and the war, and to kind of drive home a point that there is a end in mind that they have, and I don't know. I think it puts things in perspective, but we will wait till the tail end. That'll be the last thing that I decide to cover. So anyway, before we jump into it, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles and videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. It costs to stream, it costs to run my website, all that stuff, so you guys can support in that way. I very much do appreciate it. If you like also what I do here, you guys can check out different merch that we have available at blacktnews.com. You got different mugs and different t-shirts, etc. I also have different books that you guys can find. If you can find my stuff if you go to blacktnews.com, but you can also search my name on Amazon and follow me on Amazon and stuff. Check out my books. Yesterday was Halloween. In my Super Kid stories, at least the first one, the big like climax is at Halloween. when they have to like really confront the bullies and save the day. It's based off a story about my dad. When he was a kid, he made a character named Stickman, and so he fought off some kids who were trying to steal his Halloween candy with his stick, um, and the kids they had stolen other people's candy and stuff. So my his dad asked, like, well, how come they didn't take your stuff? And he's like, well, Dad, this year I was stick man. And so so he says this when he just talks about the story. He says his dad's chest just like puffed up with pride, and he's just like, I'm gonna get you a strap for that stick, because he's just so proud that he fought off the bullies and stuff. I don't think he actually got him a strap for the stick, but anyway, Super Kid is loosely based off stories about my dad and his childhood. And I mean, there's some big event stories from his life. There's definitely incorporations from stuff that, I've witnessed and gone through and stuff myself. But it's a good book series. It's a chapter book series. So if you got some kids in your life, grandkids or nieces, nephews, children of your own, it's a good book series. And Super Kid 2 is really good as well. So I have books for older readers as well. I have 17 books that are published all together. So I encourage you guys to check it out, all my stuff. So anyway, let's jump into the stories of the day. So I think Daily Wire had just posted this story because I got an alert on my phone and I read it. I'm like, oh. So I wanted to go ahead and share it with you guys. Um, Bank records show Biden received laundered money from China, Comer says. House Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, said that bank records uncovered by lawmakers reveal that President Joe Biden received $40,000 in laundered money from China. According to Comer, the money to Biden originated from Northern International Capital, a Chinese company affiliated with Chinese conglomerate CEFC. Eventually, it made its way to James and Sarah Biden after going through a series of Hunter Biden linked entities. James, the president's brother, and his wife, Sarah, then sent Joe Biden a $40,000 check as a loan repayment. Remember when Joe Biden told American people that his son didn't make money in China? Well, not only did he lie about his son Hunter making money in China, but it also turns out that 40,000 in laundered China money landed in Joe Biden's bank account in the form of a personal check. And the Oversight Committee has it, Comer said in a video message released by House Republicans explaining the new banking uh, memorandum detailing the check. So I guess he'll probably still try to say no, it was just a personal loan repayment from his brother, and just try to leave it at that and not you know acknowledge what it is. I'm a little baffled that they found a personal check. It's just really dumb, I guess. The memo said Northern International Capital sent 5 million to Hudson West 3, a joint venture created by Hunter and the CEFC associate. On August 8th, 2017, 400,000 was sent from Hudson West the third to an entity affiliated with Hunter Biden. Then on August 14th, 2017, the Hunter entity sent 150,000 to the Lion Hall Group, an entity affiliated with James and Sarah. On August 28th, 2017, Sarah withdrew 50,000 from Lion Hall Group and deposited it into her and James's personal checking account, according to Comer. On September 3rd, 2017, Sarah then wrote the 40,000 check to Joe Biden, Comer said. It's certainly plausible that this payment, where James and Sarah used funds from China, was indeed a loan repayment to Joe. But even if this 40,000 check was a loan repayment from James Biden, it still shows how Joe benefited from his family cashing in on his name with money from China, no less, Comer said. Which obviously he and his family has benefited from this money. According to the timeline provided by Comer, the money transfers began just days after Hunter had reportedly invoked his father in a WhatsApp message to CEFC associate Raymond Zhao. Hunter reportedly wrote in a July 30th, 2017 message to Zhao. I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand. And now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. I love how he was kind of vague with the man sitting next to me, and it was just like, it's my dad. This it that was like one of the craziest things that they found on the WhatsApp message with the direct threat. And there's also, and when that came out, um, the Biden administration, they started like moving the goalposts as far as like his involvement with Hunter. He used to say like, I've never been involved. I don't know anything about my son's business dealings. And then it was, well, I've never been like directly involved in it or something like that, or in now it's like I've never been in business with him. So and Hunter's, people at first are just like, you can't trust a crackhead, like what? In paraphrasing is kind of what their response was, but there was evidence that Hunter was in the vicinity of his dad's place around that time, because there was like a image from the laptop that put him there, like in the car, around at that time. And then there was also other photos of Biden, not from that day, but I think like maybe 2 days before. I have an article about this on my website that put them in that location. So it's probably that he's true that he was right next to his dad texting at the time, or they were, near each other or something. And he probably wasn't just invoking his name, but Joe was in on it. And he obviously has always used his dad's name for power and money, etc. The message was first revealed by IRS whistleblowers who said their investigations into Hunter were hindered by leadership. Obviously, they were. So, yeah. So the whole check thing is pretty interesting. I don't know how much will pan out from that, because again, I don't think ultimately the Democrats will bring themselves to care, because there's already a lot of stuff that really looks bad. If this stuff was like revealed about Trump during his administration, I guarantee you they already would have had like the impeachment stuff already drafted, whether they were going to be able to vote it through or not. I personally think the Democrats should all just flip on him and impeach him and be like, but they hate Kamala Harris so much, so probably they don't want that to happen. But that would be a good way to get rid of him if they don't want to push him out, or because he maybe won't allow them to push him out. But I don't know, that might be a way to force him to step down. Like, we're gonna impeach you if you don't. But to be how it's kind of looking, it seems like they're willing to bite the bullet and just have Joe be the nominee that they're going to push through, and let the chips fall where they may. But they probably feel that they have a pretty good shot if it's a rematch between Biden and Trump, despite the fact that Joe Biden is wildly unpopular. His policies are disastrous. People feel it in their pocketbooks. People can look at what's going on at the border. They don't have to look at what's going on at the border, because a lot of these Democrats are feeling it when they bring the migrants there to Chicago, when they bring them to New York City and stuff. They're very upset about the people arriving and how all these people who shouldn't be in the US are taking resources, and even being put over citizens that have been there for a minute. So um, Joe Biden is not popular. He's not popular, but you know, if Trump is the nominee, they're banking on so many people still hating Trump and feeling like, well, he sucks, but we have to do it. What other option do we have? Now, what's funny is that everyone has options right now because it's a primary. There was a Democrat who actually like jumped in the race. I don't remember their name. There's other people who are in the race, like Marion Williams is still in the race. Not getting any traction or much, people aren't really talking about her much at all. Then there's um well, his other opponent dropped out and became running was running for independent. So I don't know. Newsom obviously still wants to be president, but that doesn't mean that he is going to jump the gun. And I still think it would be messy of them to hop over Kamala Harris when she is the vice president. I don't think many people would find that to be tasteful because they live or die by their, coalition of diversity is our strength, blah blah blah. So if they pass over a colored woman when she should be the heir apparent, she's serving as the vice president. That doesn't wouldn't make sense to a lot of people. So um, I think they're just gonna push him through. Maybe, I don't know, but he's very old. There's always like a clutch. Like, I'm not saying they're gonna, like, I don't know, put something in his cornflakes. He's not gonna make it to the next day, or he's gonna take a bad fall down the stairs or something like that. They'll probably just be like, really try to pressure him, and he always has an out because he is very, 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 very old. He has an out, but we'll I don't know. Um thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. Appreciate you like my commentary. Thank you very much. Hope you don't mind that I showed your comment, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys watching live and commenting, and the commenting and stuff does boost. So thank you guys for commenting. I see some comments on Facebook and some on YouTube. So we'll see what happens. Again, I don't assume that Democrats will take the smoking gun. I assume that they will dismiss, gaslight, whatever, and that ultimately enough people will not care about the situation to really move it. And I'm sorry to put like a damper in things, but they're, even if Republicans go ahead and impeach, they don't have the numbers in the Senate for it to do anything. The only way that it would do something like, um, having that information out there in the atmosphere to be like, here's the evidence that Joe is really corrupt. But I think he's so unpopular, even that new added information probably won't move the needle on how people feel about him really that much. You'd have to find like something super egregious, of like clear evidence of not just like peddling influence and his kids getting something, but something that detrimental to the US, where he got money and the Chinese did something resulting in Americans dying or something like that. It would have to be something like really extreme, I think, for the electorate to honestly care more about the Hunter payoffs and all that stuff than they do right now. I think what really people care about is when they go to the grocery store and bacon is like insanely high, and potatoes and all, eggs, all these things that they need to get for their families and stuff. Bacon was on sale like the other week, and my sister's so excited. My mom buys bacon all the time, so she always talks about how high it is, but she's still her mom and her grandmother, they had bacon like all the time, and it's just in their blood, I guess. But her mom lived to 102, and her grandmother lived into 101. So I you know it, that side of the family just lives a long time, but they don't stress. They really don't stress about stuff. They let stuff go. They don't let life wear them down and seep into their veins. And the Bible says a broken spirit drieth the bone, which is true. Like, depression can actually like mess up your bone density, all that kind of stuff. So they just never let life hit them hard, I guess. So that's the key to probably living long. I think it's besides that, maybe it's good genetics, but definitely a lack of stress. But anyway, moving on, I want to talk to you guys about this story from Jessica Valenti. Now, she wrote about it on her Substack, and I did read her Substack article about it. And I don't know if when people started like fact checking her, if she made any kind of editorial decisions or whatever, but people were ragging on her for her thread and how she covered it. A lot of people don't click on articles and read them. They don't. They'll see headlines, and she didn't actually post her Substack article because she wanted um to get more circulation, and she claimed that Elon, well, I don't think it's really a claim. I think it's pretty much true that he wants to discourage people from leaving Twitter/X. So if you post a link on a post or something, then it's likely to get less traction. So she didn't even post a link to her Substack article about this. But how she describes everything that happened is it leaves something to be desired with the facts. So we're going to go ahead and look at her post about this, and then we're going to actually read about what happened, because I think there's like I said, a lot to be desired with the reporting here. So she's this person is a really big abortion activist. Abortion every day is actually her Substack. So you gotta know that you're pretty dedicated to call it that. So she's talking about Idaho has brought forward charges in the state's first abortion trafficking case. Law enforcement used geolocation data to place a teenager at an Oregon abortion clinic. Um, and so that's what will like the Substack picture looked like. Last week, an Idaho teenager and his mother were arrested for bringing the teen's girlfriend out of state for an abortion. The pair were charged with multiple felonies, including second-degree kidnapping for taking a minor under 16 years old. So, the community note here is great. This case involves several crimes, including rape of a minor, and a kidnapping across state lines with the intention of obstructing the sexual assault by ending the underage female's pregnancy without parental authority or consent. Jessica's statement omits these facts. So that's the community note there. And again, there's some more details that are in her Substack. But this is not a link. This is just an image, and she doesn't, I don't even think, put the link in the thread. So folks are really digging on her about this, certainly, because there's just more to the story. She tweeted more things about it. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Wish I could put an actual link, but Elon Musk has beef with my newsletter publisher and buries my tweets when I do. Some more context on the case in this thread, since I can see that the antis already got a hold of it. Talking about anti-choice, I guess is what they call us, or anti-abortion. I don't know. A couple things about this story. It's complicated, sad, and involves people clearly having a difficult time in life. That's not surprising. Law enforcement tends to target the most marginalized among us, especially those they believe won't be sympathetic. Oh, those darn police people doing their jobs. How dare they find people who break the law who we wouldn't sympathize with to exercise their authority of keeping the law. It's so funny how they phrase these things. Second thing to note, geolocation data and phone records played a big part in how law enforcement gathered evidence. They were able to place a teen, her boyfriend, and his mother near Oregon abortion clinic using their cell phone data. Also super important, Idaho prosecutors clearly know that the abortion trafficking law might be blocked soon. There's a challenge being heard right now, and a decision is expected soon. So they did something sketchy. They used the exact language of the abortion trafficking law and second degree kidnapping charges, but didn't use the statute itself. That way, if the law gets blocked, prosecutors can still pursue this teen and his mom for abortion trafficking regardless. Yeah, you shouldn't traffic people to do abortions, especially minors. Finally, a huge thanks to oh, she just thanked someone else. So that's what she made. So let's actually go to the article itself. well, not her article, but some facts about the actual case. This from the Idaho State Journal. Um, so let me gotta switch my screens here. Okay, young man, his mother arrested after teenage girl raped and transported across state lines for an abortion without parental consent. A young Pocatello man and his mother were recently arrested after police say the man raped a 15-year-old girl and his mother took the girl across state lines for an abortion without parental consent. Caden Leo Swanston, 18, and his mother, Rachel Swanston, 42, both of Pocatello, Pocatello, have each been charged with several felony crimes following a Pocatello police investigation that was launched in June after a 15-year-old girl's mother contacted authorities to report that her daughter had been raped, according to police and court records the Idaho State Journal recently obtained. Caden has been charged with rape, second degree kidnapping, and 3 counts of producing child sexually exploitative material, all felonies, court records show. His mother, Rachel, has been charged with second degree kidnapping, trafficking in methamphetamine, 2 counts of possession of controlled substance, one each for possessing fentanyl and psychedelic mushrooms, and 1 count of harboring a wanted felon, all felonies following the investigation. The investigation began to unfold on June 18th when a woman contacted Pocatello police to report that her 15-year-old daughter had been raped and subsequently taken to Bend, Oregon for an abortion without her permission, police said. The 15-year-old girl participated in a forensic interview at a local child advocacy center on August 2nd, during which she disclosed that a consensual sexual relationship she engaged in with Caden when he was 17 continued after he turned 18 years old, according to the report. The girl told the investigator that shortly after Caden turned 18, she discovered that she was pregnant and was happy about the pregnancy, though Caden was not, and demanded that she get an abortion, police said. The girl told police that on May 18th, Rachel rented a car and traveled with her and Caden to Bend, Oregon, where the teenage girl received an abortion, according to the police. The teenage girl provided police with a copy of the medical paperwork that she received following the abortion, police said. Pocatello police obtained search warrants for Caden and Rachel's phone records, which showed that they traveled to Bend, Oregon on May 18th, according to the report. The teenage girl also provided police permission to forensically extract data from her cell phone, which resulted in police locating a video of 3 photos that depicted Caden and the teenage girl engaging in various sexual acts. Police said police were able to identify Caden as the person in the pictures and video by matching tattoos shown in the video to ones that he had on his person, according to the police. Baghdad police executed a search warrant at the home of Caden and Rachel, lived at together on Thursday, with Caden participating in an interview with police on the same date. During the interview, Caden admitted to engaging in sexual acts with a teenage girl after his 18th birthday, knowing that she was 15, that he and his mother transported her to Oregon, where the girl received an abortion. During the execute execution of the search warrant, police located over 40 grams of meth in Rachel's room and also arrested a man that was staying in her storage shed, Rick A. Parsons Jr., who was arrested on an outstanding felony warrant for felony meth trafficking charges. Rachel and Caden were then charged, arrested, and booked inside of Bannock County Jail in Pocatello. Caden and Rachel appeared in front of the 6th District Judge Scott Axelin for a separate arraignment hearing on Friday, during which they were both ordered to be released on their own recognizance. Both are due to be back in court on November 7th for a separate preliminary hearing. that would involve prosecutors attempting to prove that there is enough evidence against them to elevate their cases from magistrate to district court level for trial. The felony meth trafficking charge Rachel faces carries a maximum penalty of up to life in prison if she is convicted. If convicted of 4 other felony charges, Rachel faces up to 44 years in prison and a fine up to 130,000. If convicted of if the rape charge, Caden faces up to life in prison. The other 4 felony charges he faces carry a maximum penalty of up to 115 years in prison and a fine of up to $200,000. So, I don't know what's going to happen to the drug charges. Are pretty wild addition to the story. Um, I don't know what's going to happen with the statutory rape charge and all that stuff because they said that they were engaging in a consensual relationship, and when you're a minor, you the deal is that you can't consent. But I guess suppose they were both minors at the time when they were together. Um, there's a lot of people who are like celebrating. They're doing, there's a slew of laws that have been passed as of late about like child bride laws and that you can't marry unless you're 18 and stuff. And um I don't, but yet people really just have it in their mind that kids are going to just have sex and that's the end of it. I don't understand why there's not more of a push for kids to not do it. It's just very accepted, like, oh, that's just what they're gonna do, and they feel. Someone had commented on the story, um, that well, it's not a good look to make a 15-year-old, they didn't even say make for a 15-year-old to have their baby or something. Let me find the exact wording because I did reply to it because I found the section of the article and I posted it under them. I'm like, she originally wanted to keep her baby and her boyfriend didn't want her to. And that's a story with a lot of young women that they do want to. Now that it can be reversed, that the men want them to keep the baby and the women, aren't going to let them have a say or whatever. Or the men won't say a lot because they believe it's still ultimately her choice, and she feels mad because he won't support her more, but he really does want the baby to not die. So it can be, reverse, sure, but there's plenty of young women who want to have their baby and they don't feel supported. They feel pressured by their partner or whatever. Britney Spears recently came out, talking about how she was pregnant with Justin Timberlake's baby, and people around her didn't want her to have the baby. Well, no, I don't think that many people knew. Um, but Justin didn't want her to have the baby. And she even talked about in her memoir that he was just like strumming the guitar while she was like in agonizing pain going through the like abortion at home and stuff. And when I did talk about it a little bit on a live one day, and I remember them being together, but I didn't pay much attention to after they broke up and how much he would talk about Brittany and bring up stuff and talk about how he took her virginity and dissed on her and stuff. And I'm just like, I was way too nice about it on his part. Like I thought the whole thing was awful and it was awful what he did, but I was way too nice. Like looking back, I was like, I was way too nice to this guy about his role in this tragic thing that she did to her baby and to herself. Um, but she wanted to keep the baby. And let me see. Well, yeah, he said still not a great look to have a teenage rape victim carry a child to term, though. They didn't say make, they just said to have a teenage rape a victim carry a child to term. So what's so if they want the baby, like you don't want them to have it, it should just be mandatory. They're not saying it should be mandatory, but it's like people we people do have the capacity to get pregnant prior to them being of age. And if it is really so awful, even when it is like two people who are around the same age who are in a relationship to have a baby, and if you're gonna be like, well, they're young, they gotta have an abortion because they're 15, they're 16, which is too young in my opinion to have a baby. But if it's too young to be parents, I don't know why it's a good age to commit homicide against your child. If it's too young to be a parent, I I don't know why don't say it's too young to have the sex. It's too young to do that. Now, actually, most people, who are having abortions are between the age 20 to 40. So, it's a small percentage of abortions of people getting abortions. But the one of the most egregious things about the story, though, um, I'm obviously not for them having the sex and stuff, but taking this girl out of state for her to have the abortion and her mom not knowing as well is pretty crazy. There was a story some years ago back in Michigan of a young woman who her boyfriend was the age gap between her and her boyfriend was really 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 statutory rape, and it was a bigger gap than these two, and she went to the abortion clinic with her boyfriend's sister, and there was a complication and she ended up dying. She ended up dying. So it's a medical procedure, and something could always go wrong. I had a friend who had an abortion when she was a teenager. Her mom, knew and stuff, was there with her, but there was complications there with that she didn't feel the anesthesia didn't work, and so she could feel them like pulling on her insides and other stuff, and it was very traumatic for her. She had post-traumatic stress for a while. She is over that now. I actually have an interview with her on my YouTube channel. You guys can find it. Her name is Ronquel. And but there's all sorts of things that can happen to you as a complication of having your abortion. You need to know, even if you're going to have it, you need to know that you make sure you know all the options, and someone else taking your boyfriend's mom when you're a minor, that is so sketchy. What if this mother's child died while she was killing her grandchild because her sketchy boyfriend and druggy, his druggy mom took her out of state? So I didn't see I read Jessica's Substack about this issue, and she was more upset about how they decided to basically use the language of this trafficking law but not actually use a trafficking law than them taking this minor to do this thing and the mother not knowing. But you know what? Planned Parenthood in these advocacy groups and these politicians don't believe in parental consent and or needing parental consent if you're a minor. And that might sound like bonkers crazy to you, but it's true. If you look at the ACLU, if you look at like abortion advocacy stuff, and they talk about like abortion rights, like they just believe in the privacy of that individual. And even if you're a minor, they don't want the parents to know. They don't want the parents to be involved. They totally think that should be up to the child. By the way, my friend Ronquel, she did end up telling her mom, but there was a law in our state that you have to get permission from an adult to have an abortion, but you can go to the court to bypass that. There's a process to do that. And so she found out from girls at school like how she could possibly get that abortion without her parents knowing. So this has been in the works for a while, but the same people who push like the parental the Prop 3 in Michigan, the Reproductive Freedom Act, which is very similar to what they're trying to pass in Ohio, by the way. All of those folks were for getting rid of parental rights. And so when we were reading the actual language of the law, not just what was going to show up on the ballot, we're like, this could destroy parental consent. Like it gives the right to every individual. It doesn't say adult. It doesn't even say woman. It just says it gives the right to every individual for the reproductive freedom. And it said not limited to, and it listed a bunch of things. I'm like, how are you going to put not limited to? We're just supposed to use our imagination of all the things that could possibly be under this constitutional amendment. And there was one woman I talked to, she actually collected signatures for it, and I explained it, said nothing about parental consent in it. And so I went through the bill with her, She's like, "Oh my gosh, I did not know that." She's like, "That's wrong." She's like, I support a woman's right to choose, but it's not right for a parent not to know." And so I convinced someone who collected signatures for the actual proposal to not vote for it. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough of me and enough time and enough resources to make that case to enough people. And then you also had um uh different prosecutors from big counties who get on TV and be like, they're lying about what's in it. And I tried to like, I did contact other offices to get some kind of comment on it, and none of them like really replied or would get back or anything. But they lied through their teeth about that. But you could actually just go to Planned Parenthood advocacy and ACLU and read that they don't believe in parental consent. They just want total privacy is what they say. But it is a medical procedure and it is dangerous. It is dangerous. I mean, it happens all the time. Women do it all the time, but not without some kind of risk. There are, of course, risks to it. And there have been women who have died from complications, including minors with their parents not knowing ahead of time. So, um, it's really creepy to me, um, how tunnel vision these people are in their cause of just abortion on demand, anytime, any reason, you know, despite the possible consequences, despite the consequences that can happen. Um, yeah, we should not these two, they shouldn't have been together. They should I don't, it sounds like a really messed up situation. Um, you know, kind of sounds like bottom of the barrel kind of what my grandmother would call low character people involved here. But yeah, what they did was wrong. On top of the fact that they did take a life, but it shouldn't have got to the point where it got to. But if you're trying to scare people like, oh, they use geolocation, yeah, it looks like the police did everything on the up and up. It wasn't like they called, I don't know, Chloe from 24 or something, and Jack Bauer, and got on the case and tracked him down with a counter clock in the background or something, or went on the dark web to find out how they got there. Everything seems pretty much on the up and up, and you're just upset that someone got charged in the midst of they were going to go get an abortion. You know, you don't have to do, you don't have to fight so hard for it. I don't get it. I don't get the passion behind it, other than, I mean, a lot of people make money in it, but hope it's worth your soul in the end. Which of course it obviously is not. It's obviously not. Um anyway, if you see something from Jessica Valenti, who's had some pretty terrible takes throughout the years, you should probably we'll find the truth in the matter, and if you got time, go ahead and debunk her and mock her. But um if you don't got time for that, just at least, you can go ahead and throw her opinion right in the trash. Okay, last thing I want to share with you guys today, which there's an article, by the way, I'm not going to share it with you guys today. Side note, that the Free Press, Barry Weiss's um paper put out about someone who worked in the industry of like gender surgeries and other stuff like that, and detailed why it's wrong, and kind of the derailment of the industry and stuff. I started reading through the article. My sister also shared it with me, but I already started reading it. I'm going to share it with you guys probably tomorrow. We'll see what the news is like. I would do today, but we're running out of time. But I just want to put that on your radar tomorrow because I think it's pretty interesting. But today, what I will leave you with is this clip from a Hamas official. And they're talking about um, Israel, of course, and what will happen basically, if they don't have some kind of resolution, they're promising that they will do it again. Um, so I think this is an important kind of context to have in mind about this conflict.
إسرائيل دولة لا مقام لها على أرضنا. إحنا هذه الدولة لابد أن نزيلها، لأنه بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك إحنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل قوة، إنه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها، وحنأدبها مرة ثانية وثالثة، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثانية وثالثة ورابعة، لأنه إحنا لدينا إصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا إمكانيات أن نقاتل نعم. ونحارب. لكن كما قلت لك بدنا ندفع ثمن. نعم إحنا مستعدين، معلش بدي أقول لك بشكل واضح، إحنا اسمنا شعب الشهداء وبنفخر أن نقدم شهداء. إحنا لا نريد أن نمس لا بالمدنيين ولا أن نلحق الأذى بهم، لكن أوقات لأنه في تعقيدات في الميدان صارت في منطقة موجودة، وكان هناك في احتفال وكان في سكان وفي منطقة واسعة ليست سهلة على امتداد تقريبا 40 كيلومتر. يجب أن ننتهي.
أن ينتهي وين؟ بقطاع غزة؟
ينتهي إلى لا بتكلم عنه كل الأراضي الفلسطينية.
كل الأراضي الفلسطينية يعني زوال طبعا. إسرائيل؟
طبعا. وجود إسرائيل غير منطقي. وجود إسرائيل هو اللي بخلق كل هذه الآلام والعذابات والدموع والدماء. هي إسرائيل مش إحنا ضحية الاحتلال، نقطة وآخر السطر. لذلك ما حدا يلومنا، إحنا شو اللي بنعمله في 7 أكتوبر، في 10 أكتوبر، في مليون أكتوبر، إحنا اللي بنعمل مبرر. It is justified، مبررة.
So, everything that they did, I mean, if he's lying and saying, "Oh, we didn't mean to kill civilians," they absolutely meant to kill civilians. So he's lying there. But he said everything that they did was justified, and he's saying they will continue to do it. They're not talking about just occupation in the Gaza Strip. They're talking about all of Israel is Palestinian land, and they don't want it occupied. So the lot from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about all of it. In the existence of Israel is illogical, they said. It's the cause of all this blood and pain, etc. So there, and he even said that we are a people of martyrs, and we will continue to martyr ourselves. We don't mind being martyrs. So you heard those words, right? So whether you are counting history back to like 1200 BC, or whether you're counting it back to 1948, or you're counting it back to October the 7th, you don't have to take a side here. You can just be an outside observing party to two forces going at each other. And Hamas is saying we're going to keep killing, and Israel can't exist. so they're controlling the area of Gaza. They're operating out of Gaza, and if they do a ceasefire, which they already broke a ceasefire on October 7th, they'll just restock and prepare again and commit more acts of terror. I suppose as brutally as what they were able to achieve on October the 7th, they said it was all justified. Right? So if that's the case, Israel has a choice of, okay, we can just put our hands up, dust ourselves off, go back home, and wait for the next annihilation that they will try, and continuously live in this cycle of, waiting on pins and needles for the, next shoe to drop. Or they can take out the people who want them to not exist. So you can not. I've seen plenty of comments where people are like, they can both wipe themselves out, they don't care, or whatever. You cannot care about either of them. But just if you take a step back and look at these two forces from an objective position, no emotions attached. In this case, it's going to be, if the choice is to live or die, the strongest force is obviously going to win at this point. So if it's Israel, it is what it is, but they're not giving a lot of options there, would you say? And for you people out there who are like, Hamas isn't Palestine, stop conflating them then. Because so many people will still say, well, what they did was justified. And like I showed a clip yesterday of Ben Shapiro at Oxford, and there was a young woman who said, well, he asked her, like, where is the occupied area? And she said all of it. So she wants to get rid of Israel too. So if that's what people feel who are supporting Palestine, who aren't specifically in the Hamas terrorist organization, but but they support what they're doing because they have the same end game. You know, what is Israel supposed to do at that point? It's live it, it's live, be able to exist, or die. If it's not die today, it's die tomorrow. Or maybe you not die, but your children die in front of you with their fingers and toes chopped off. Um it 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 doesn't matter how you feel about what they've done to each other throughout the years. These are the options that are laid out pretty clearly. And I don't think they're just going to lay down and die. So you can't just sucker punch someone in the face and be like, nah, quit it. And knowing that you're not just going to sucker punch them next time, they got a knife behind your back. You gotta take out that threat. I've said this many times. Like, if you knew a monster was living at the foot of your children's bed, would you just leave them there? Leave your child to be devoured? Or I guess, people, if it was a horror movie or something, I guess there's two things you could do. One is that you could just get your child to move out, or and to hope the monster doesn't track you down and kill you, or you could take out the monster. And I think that most people who can think about it, if this was any other nation, if something like this happened in America, and this is what really blows my mind. I'm like, I know that we would just go scorched earth and not give 2 cents about what everyone else had to say about it. War is a terrible, awful thing, and people, you lose good people, people who have nothing to do with it so much, collateral damage, civilians, people lose their lives. But I said this yesterday, it's pretty amazing to me that the American left, we're too civilized for war, but we're progressive enough for terrorism. That, oh, well, Hamas, they beheaded people and they killed babies and they raped women, did all these things. But you gotta consider the nuance, approach to this topic, and all the years of occupation, and as if something like that could justify the atrocities that happen. But and they can't bring themselves to condemn Hamas. And I showed a video the other day of a guy saying, like, you can't just go around asking people if they condemn Hamas if they're because they're brown, and that's racist, and that's just like asking black people will they condemn looting and shooting and all this. And I'm just like, yes, I would condemn those things because they're evil, and I don't care that it doesn't matter if I'm black. I'll say that, and I'll say that about what happened on October the 7th and other circumstances that are evil. Absolutely. um but these people who if you really think Hamas is justified, and the people marching thought it was justified, there's a lot of rallies and protests and other things now, but people were, celebrating, standing with, Palestine before Israel started striking back, like immediately after what happened. And there was something in Dearborn where they had people saying Hamas isn't a terrorist group, and not in, it's justified after 70 years of occupation, and Black Lives Matter, all the stuff, all the phrases, all the stuff. So if two entities are going at it, in war, might is right. And if you want land, the truth of the matter for history is you have to be able to get that land and protect that land. And Israel's doing that. So if Hamas, they wipe out Hamas, that's what it is. But at the end of it, it seems like there's only going to be either Israel or Hamas. But you heard it very clearly what they want. So I don't see how you guys think that Israel has much choice in the matter. I don't know what people want them to do. And you can say, "Well, I hate them and they've done X, Y, and Z." How this conflict has evolved, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When one side says, "We don't want your country to exist and we will keep attacking you every chance that we can get," like your existence doesn't make sense. What do you do with that besides win? What do you do with that besides win? And someone had left me a comment. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And I had made a post on YouTube about how someone compared um Harriet Tubman to all this stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm like, how dare you invoke Harriet Tubman in all this? I'm like, that is nuts. But they did, and they didn't walk it back. I ended up blocking them on TikTok because they started like tagging me in a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, I don't follow and watch videos from people who can't make good comments, good arguments in my comments. I'm not following you into a bunch of different pages. Then they kept doing it after I warned them, so I just got rid of them. Here's a comment. You know nothing about Hamas and the Palestinian resistance. You know nothing about living. I know in their charter they talk about killing Jews. So, and I think that's pretty much all they said. That jihad is the solution is what I said in the post. You know nothing about living under the Zionist terrorist state. You know nothing about what they are doing to us. Shame on you. And yes, it's a jihad. We will fight the illegal settlers that stole our homes and killed our families. We are not afraid to die for our country. We are not scared of death. Dying for our country and our families is not scary. No more apartheid walls. No more. We will fight. The West likes it. We're not. We are not scared to defend our homes. Disgusting West. Shame on you. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that? They don't want your country to exist. And they're saying, they the fighters in Israel, like we're gonna fight. Well, Hamas leaders have said we love death like our enemies love life. So the Israelis are like, we're fighting for our future, for our children, etc. And Hamas is like, we're fighting because we want to kill these Jews. So we want to kick them off the land, and because we don't like them. And they think it's warranted, but whatever. And they said that they're people of martyrs and they don't mind being martyred, and you heard like they don't fear death and all that stuff. And they believe, these men believe that they're martyrs and they'll have 70 virgins and an eternal erection, and I'm not joking. Pretty disgusting. So that's what they're fighting for, and that's I guess why they're not afraid to die. So I don't know what you do about that. I don't know how you quench the thirst of a man who desires an eternal erection and 70 virgins. I don't know what you do with that, guys. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. It does cost to stream, it costs to run my website, all that stuff. So you guys can support. I do very much appreciate it. Check out different books and stuff that I have available, like my book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion. That one's available on Barnes and Noble. It's also available on Amazon. You guys can follow me on Amazon. All you have to do is search for my name, Christina L. Barr. You guys can also find, if you go to the website and go to the merchandise page, there's a link that'll take you to my book website where you can like see all my stuff. So I do have nonfiction. Well, this is a nonfiction book, but I do have other books that are fiction, like at the top of the hour, I talked about my book series Super Kid, and I have books for older readers as well. So go ahead and check out my stuff, and I hope you guys enjoy. And I thank you guys for those who have checked it out and have enjoyed. It's like Christmas time, guys. Go if you're not much of a reader, get one for somebody that you know who likes to read. Yeah, it's November the 1st, and it started snowing last night. And I'm in Michigan, so there you go. Already started snowing, getting cold. It was really warm like last week, and then it like switched all of a sudden, and now there's snow. So we're getting to that time of the year. Michigan weather is so wonky. It can change the seasons like 3 times in a day. But I'm not too keen on the snow. So thank you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. God bless.